The UK Space Agency was our nation's window to the universe. For years, it was the driving force behind Britain's ambitions among the stars. It wasn't just about launching rockets, which is, honestly, a pretty common misconception. Its role was far more intricate and, vital to our modern world. The agency coordinated the UK's civil space activities, managing our contributions to the European Space Agency and NASA missions. It helped British companies develop cutting-edge satellite technology. This technology is now fundamental to our daily lives. It powers everything from the GPS in our cars to the weather forecasts we check on our phones each morning. The agency was the central hub that connected brilliant minds with cosmic possibilities. It played a crucial part in developing instruments for missions exploring distant worlds. Think of the Bepi-Colombo mission to Mercury or the ExoMars rover searching for signs of life on the Red Planet. These missions carried British-built technology, a testament to our scientific and engineering prowess. The agency also championed Earth observation programs. These programs use satellites to monitor our planet's changing climate, track deforestation, and manage natural disasters. It was a source of immense national pride, showing that Britain could punch well above its weight on the global stage of space exploration and science. The government's announcement on August 20, 2025 sent shockwaves through the scientific and industrial communities. It was a decision that felt sudden and brutal. The official statement cited the need for urgent and radical fiscal consolidation in the face of a deepening economic downturn. The Chancellor explained that every department had to make unprecedented sacrifices and that standalone agencies with significant international financial commitments were under intense scrutiny. The UK Space Agency, with its substantial annual contributions to the European Space Agency and other global partners, was presented as a target for significant cost-saving measures. It was a stark and difficult message for a nation that had only recently been celebrating its growing role in space. The government argued that the core functions of the agency would not be lost entirely. Instead, they proposed a new model. The Department for Science, Innovation and Technology would absorb the research and development grants. The Ministry of Defense would take over responsibilities related to satellite security and sovereign capabilities. The Department for Business and Trade would manage the commercial aspects and licensing for space companies. The official line was that this restructuring would create a more efficient, streamlined, and accountable system, eliminating the administrative overhead of a dedicated agency. It was framed as a pragmatic reorganization, not an abandonment of space. However, this explanation was met with widespread skepticism. Critics immediately pointed out the flaws in this fragmented approach. For those paying close attention, the shocking announcement wasn't entirely without warning. The writing had been on the wall for some time. Over the past 2 years, the agency's budget had been quietly eroded. Projects that were once championed were suddenly delayed, were scaled back during funding reviews. Ambitious vertical launch plans from a UK spaceport lost government support. These were not isolated incidents. They formed a wider pattern of declining political enthusiasm. Grand speeches about global Britain and a new space race gave way to a fiscal tone in parliamentary debates. Rhetoric from key government figures began to shift. Ministers once spoke with passion about exploration and scientific discovery. The language shifted to short-term commercial returns and military applications. Post-Brexit strain with European partners added to the pressure. Participation in key ESA programs became political flashpoints. Scientists pushed for collaboration while some politicians framed these commitments as unnecessary expenses and threats to sovereignty. The reaction from the scientific community was one of profound shock and dismay. Leading physicists and astronomers were openly critical. Professor Martin Rees described the decision as a catastrophic act of self-harm. He warned decades of investment were being thrown away for short-term gain. Major space missions take years, sometimes decades, to plan and execute. The sudden removal of a central coordinating body creates a vacuum of leadership and uncertainty. For students and young researchers, the news was utterly demoralizing. Many had chosen to study astrophysics, aerospace engineering, planetary science. They had seen a clear career path in a vibrant domestic industry. The closure of the agency has pulled the rug out from under their feet. University departments report a wave of anxiety among postgraduate students. There is a real fear of a new brain drain to the United States, or to countries within the European Union. Experts in the industry warned of devastating impact on the UK's commercial space sector. The CEO of Surrey Satellite Technology Limited said the agency bridged innovation and market. Without that strategic support, small and medium-sized enterprises will struggle globally. International investors now see the UK as high risk and unstable. The decision has shattered confidence in the UK as a place to do space business. International reaction, quiet disappointment and confusion. A single, dedicated agency provides a unified voice and a coherent strategy. It acts as a vital point of contact for international partners like NASA, who prefer dealing with a single, equivalent national body. Spreading these functions across multiple departments risks creating a bureaucratic maze. This could lead to conflicting priorities, duplicated efforts, and a loss of strategic focus. Imagine trying to coordinate a complex international mission when the funding, the technology, and the policy are all handled by different ministers with different agendas. It seems like a recipe for confusion and inaction. The decision was also positioned as a pivot towards more terrestrially focused investments. The government's press release emphasized the need to prioritize immediate domestic challenges such as healthcare, infrastructure, and energy security. The narrative was clear: money spent on Mars rovers and distant satellites was a luxury we could no longer afford when there were pressing problems here on Earth. This argument, while politically appealing to some, overlooks the immense value that space technology brings back to our planet. It ignores the fact that investments in space create jobs, drive innovation, and provide essential services that solve those very terrestrial problems. It was a disappointingly short-sighted view of where true value lies. Partners at ESA and NASA have privately expressed concern. A coordinated space strategy is essential for complex multinational collaborations. The UK was seen as a key, reliable partner. Now international colleagues are left wondering who to talk to. Will they have to negotiate with 3 or 4 different government departments to move a project forward? This fragmentation risks excluding the UK from the next wave of discoveries and technological advancements. Looking to the immediate future, the outlook for the UK's role in space appears fragmented and uncertain. The dispersal of the agency's functions across multiple government departments will create a period of intense bureaucratic chaos. Without a central body to provide a unified vision, our national space strategy becomes a patchwork of competing interests. Ministry of Defense, military satellites. Department for Business, commercially viable ventures. Fundamental discovery-led science exposed and underfunded. We risk becoming a nation that only asks, is it profitable? Can it be weaponized? Rather than, what can we discover? One major consequence: our international collaborations may wither. The UK's ESA membership is in a precarious position. Without a national agency to manage contributions and champion our interests, our influence within ESA will wane. We may be reduced to a minor contributor with little say in flagship missions. Ambitious projects: a British astronaut on the moon, playing a key role in missions to Jupiter's ice moons. Instead, we watch from the sidelines as partners make history, but it's not all doom and gloom. The UK's private space sector is resilient and innovative. Established companies will continue to thrive globally. Cutting-edge tech developed for international markets. A new industry-led body might emerge to fill the void. Universities remain centers of world-class research. Passionate scientists will keep pushing boundaries. They will seek funding from wherever they can find it, private philanthropy or international grants. Ultimately, the future may depend on a future government reversing this decision. A campaign led by the scientific community, industry leaders, and an inspired public could push to re-establish a national space agency. Investing in space is an investment in our future. It inspires our children, creates high-tech jobs, strengthens our economy, and helps answer fundamental questions about our place in the cosmos. The stars haven't gone away. Will Britain have the courage and vision to reach for them?